demo of SQL injection on simple Spring Boot application. So, what is SQL injection? It is a type of cyber attack that targets the SQL database layer of an application. It occurs when an attacker injects malicious SQL code into a database query through input provided by the application's users, which will lead to unauthorized access or data leakage or data manipulation. So, today we'll see how we can do SQL injection on simple Spring Boot application. So, we are going to create a Spring Boot application, like third application, where we'll be having employee, so username and password with fields as username and password. And without knowing the password, how attacker can access or log in the application using SQL injection, we are going to see that. Okay. So I have already created a project, Spring Boot project in the SPS, SQL injection. So let's start. Now first we'll create a model class as employee. This will be entity. Then we'll be having three fields. One will be its ID, one is username, and password. So ID we have to annotate with the ID. Then so this will be auto generated or auto incremented in MySQL term. So we are going to use the MySQL database. Let's create default constructor, then parameterize constructors, data setter. Yeah. So this will be our model class. Then next we have to create repository. So it will be employee repository, the package repository. Yes. This will implement yeah, JPA repository with its model as employee, and its ID has integer type. Okay. And, yeah. So we have to create here interface, not a class. Okay. Interface, which will extend another interface. Okay. Yes. So this is our repository. Then we will create service file, which will be an interface. So employee service. Yes, this will be our interface, where we'll define our methods, which we are going to implement in employee service implement class. Okay. So first will be add or create. So here we will be passing employee object, which we will be inserting into the database. Next is view. So we'll be bringing a list of employees. Then next is delete. So we don't need all this anyway. Delete and update. We are going to do the SQL injection. So we need one more method as validate. So it will return employee validate, where we will be passing username and password. Yes. So next, okay. So for this, we have to create another package, or in the same package also it is okay. But let's refactor. But let's create a package. It's better if the files are in its package. Okay. So let's move this here. Yeah. Now we'll create a service implementation file class. So employee service. Okay. So here we have to do the annotation service. And also in the repository, we have to do a repository. Here it is a class, so it will implement service, employee service, and unimplemented methods we have to add. Okay, so we have add, view, and validate. For adding, what we have to do? First, we need a repository. So employee repository. We have to acquire this. Okay. Now we will directly call save method. We will pass the this object. Okay. Now next is view. So for viewing, what we will call the find all method. And for validate, so for validate we have to write our own query, because we have two fields, right? Or we can write repository. In the repository we can write our own method also. Like for here in the using in repository we have find all or find by all id, find one. So in this way we can also write our custom query like find by username or find by password. But here we have to validate, so we'll write our own query here. Okay. So for that we have to create object entity manager. um, Versus system context. Okay. So this will allow us to write our queries, like do the data manipulation. So here we'll create write a query entity manager dot native query, create native query. Okay. So here we'll write our query. So select start from. Okay. So before this we have to configure our database, right? I mean, which okay, which database we are going to use. So I have already created a test database in my MySQL MySQL. So here I'll just use all these configurations. So here it's test. Okay. Yeah, there is. So in test, we'll be having employee as our database name. As we have not given here at the rate table with the name, so by default it will save by this name. Okay. So here select from employee where where our username equal to. So here we have to add a string as username plus colon pass and password equal to this plus password plus our colon. And we have to make our native query as okay. So just using some. And here we have to pass the class. So what is our class? Our class is employee. This cannot connection. Okay. Yeah. Now we will return query dot result. That is a list. And now we will get a list of employee in that. Now we have to change this in service as well. So here we will be a list of employee. Okay. So here. Okay. So in this way we are going to. No. So if we see what is this query, if select star from employee where username equal to colon colon. So here, if the username, let's say if I entered username as Komal123, then it will be passed as a string without its inverted commas, right? So here we have to use this single quotes, so that here in this way this value will be passed. Same for password if it is same. Okay. So this will be our query normally. Let's So where is the error? Created APIs only. We just have created all services. So first we have to write controller also, right? Dot controller, and here it will be employee controller. So give annotation test controller. Then this will give. So here we have to make create object of service, employee service, and at this. uh, Return dot view, and we have to give it as a get mapping. Let's try. Let's say get all. If we rerun this, okay, uh, empty list we are getting, because we are not. It's just a new table which we have, which is created. Okay, in the database. So now we have to also add API for adding or creating an employee. Okay, so apply employee add, then return dot add. We have to pass employee e. Okay, add the rate. So it will be post mapping. So post mapping add. This will be in the request body, written request body. Request body. Will be an employee. So if I rerun, okay. So add, we change the method. For body, we are going to pass the data in the form of JSON with username, yes, let's say, and password. Okay. If I send the request, we can see no record is inserted. Now if I add another username and password, okay. Now let's check get all. Yeah, we are getting two different records. Now just add our main API, which is validate. Okay, which will return, let's say, boolean or list of employee. Ideally it should be one. Validate. Yeah. So here also we are going to pass the username and password. Okay, so basically we are going to pass the same employee object. Validate, where we have to pass this e dot username, e dot password. Yes. Now let's rerun. Okay, let's check now. So we know username is Komal123 and password is Komal. So let's check. So it's a validate. Then we have post request. Or we can check this as well directly. So it should give the same list. Okay. So if I enter wrong password, then it is giving empty list. Okay. That means if it is giving some object or list which is not empty, that means credentials are validated. But if it is giving empty list, that means credentials are not correct. Okay, so how we are going to do SQL injection on this is, without knowing the password, we are going to validate it using the username. Okay, so I know the username. If I don't know the password, then also I'll get a list. So here, what was before? I was getting this list because username and password both are correct, which is in the database. So if I enter wrong, then it was giving me empty list. So even if I don't write password correct, then also I'll get this list. How we are going to see? Okay. So let's say, what is our query? From select star from employee, where username equal to and password equal to. Okay, so this is our query. So here username is whatever we are passing will be inserted, but instead of password, what we can add. So this is the column, no, sorry, inverted comma, which we are using here in the string itself. We have seen earlier. So if we add password as colon, okay, or let's say password equal to this, or one equal to one, or one, this one equal to one. If we pass this, so this double inverted commas will be ignored, as we are passing it as a variable into the this string. So here we can see in the, yeah, here we are passing password. So double inverted commas will not be passed. Okay, will not be added. So we will be only passing this much. So if I copy this and paste here, so this or this. So both, or means anyone is true, then it will give as a true result. So this query will give us our list. So this is what is the SQL injection on password. So if I write here, or one equal to one, we are using the or, so query is split into two parts. So one equal to one is always true, so this will get locked in and will access. So using postman we can see this. So if I write something else, and then same, we can see we are getting the empty list. But if we write this string, we are getting the values. So this is unauthorized access basically. Without knowing the password, we are able to access, or we are able to access um, the things which a user can with password. Okay, this is the SQL injection. We have seen using the Postman. So we'll see this using or front end also HTML page, how we can do the same way as we have tested the API in this Postman. Only we will use that in the front end. That's it.